Hey, welcome back to Shakesyear. We are still working on Henry VI, Part 1. Today we get to hear from Talbot, Father Talbot, and his servant. And the last couple of days and the last couple of scenes, we've been hanging out with Talbot and his son, John Talbot, while they are surrounded by the French. And both of them are trying to get the other one to run away and save his own life. John Talbot is like, Dad, you have the name that strikes the fear in the heart of men, so you should continue to live. And the father, Talbot, who we've spent the whole play with, is like, you should go because you're young and you still have your whole life ahead of you, and I don't want you to die because then our family dies and all that sort of stuff too. But very stubbornly he stays, and they fight, and Talbot has to rescue his son a couple of times. And then we get to today, Act 4, Scene 7, where we get to hear from Talbot and Talbot's servant. The scene starts out, there's been more fighting because yesterday, once again, they decided they were both going to stay and fight. So they've been fighting, and Talbot comes in, and he's a little bit, well, he's injured. He comes in and he says, "Where is my other life? Mine own is gone. Oh, where's young Talbot? Where's valiant John? Triumphant death, smeared with captivity, young Talbot's valor makes me smile at thee. When he perceived me shrink, and on my knee his bloody sword he brandished over me, and like a hungry lion did commence rough deeds of rage and stern impatience. But when my angry guardian stood alone, tendering my ruin and assailed of none, dizzy-eyed fury and great rage of heart suddenly made him from my side to start into the clustering battle of the French. And in that sea of blood, my boy did drench his overmounting spirit, and there died my Icarus, my blossom in his pride. Oh, my dear Lord, lo, where your son is born, thou antique death, which laughst us here to scorn. Anon, from thy insulting tyranny, coupled in bonds of perpetuity, two Talbots winged through the lither sky, in thy despite shall scape mortality. Oh, those wounds become a heart-favored death. Speak to thy father, ere thou yield thy breath. Brave death by speaking, whether he will or no. Imagine him a Frenchman, and thy foe. Poor boy. He smiles, methinks, as who should say, had death been French, then death had died today. Come and lay him in his father's arms. My spirit can no longer bear these harms. Soldiers, and you, I have what I would have. Now my old arms are young John Talbot's grave. And then he dies too. Father and son both die on the battlefield. Father mourning his son and holding him in his arms as they die on the battlefield. Talbot, who was the great hope of England, who was the scourge of the French, he and his son both gone. So of course the French get to come in like immediately after this and talk about how great they are for winning. And tomorrow we get to hear from the English, who realize that they don't have much now that they don't have the Talbots anymore. So we'll get to hear from that tomorrow. I'll see you then. Mwah.